I can't teach a boy to be a man. You said that, T. Meanwhile, this boy has made a man's decision.
So, one of the main questions that Tariq needs to ask himself at this moment in his life is, did he make the right decision in choosing the path that he chose? This boy, he's made a man's decision, and look where it's got him. He really could have had a much easier life, which Ghost was giving him. But the issue is, Tariq wanted to be his own man and make his own decisions because of all the lies, deceit, and with Ghost's behavior. Now Ghost was standing in the way of his future because he wanted him to hand himself in for Ray Ray's murder, which is why Tariq had to get rid of Ghost. So there was no way he was going to accept the offer that Tameika and Saxe got for him with Jenny Sullivan. But Tariq started off telling everyone that he was nothing like his father, to then behaving the same way Ghost did, to then eventually admitting hopefully he's one day worthy of taking his name. But before we get into the in-depth analysis of Tariq's monstrous ways, it has to be said, a copy is never an original, and an original such as Ghost can never be replaced. There will ever only be one James St. Patrick. But having said this, you can become your own version and mold the role of Ghost to how you play the game. For example, I'm sure everybody sees a lot of Ghost-like traits in Mecha, and this is in essence what Tariq is doing. He has some Ghost-like traits, but there are some things which he lacks, but there's some things which he's better with, which is why he's becoming a different version of Ghost. But can he become a bigger monster than Ghost? Let's break it down. And first we have to rewind it back to Power, because we need to look at what Tariq's been through in his life, because people around him in Power Book 2 Ghost think he's a silver spoon, someone who comes from a wealthy or privileged background, especially Kane. But they don't know Tariq like we do, and there's only a few people who know some parts of Tariq's dark history, like Rashad Tate, Tameika, and Cooper Saxe. But Tariq has seen a lot of consequences and death in his life, for example the robbery that went wrong with Brains at Big Country. And he's also killed himself when he took revenge on Ray Ray for killing his twin sister Raina. He set up Kanan, his own best friend, and even killed Ghost. And then there was Jabari in Power Book 2 Ghost. He's also been through hell and back, albeit he's put himself in many of these situations himself. Now with Ghost, he had no option but to do some of the things that he had to do, because he had to survive in the streets, and that's the key difference between the two. Tariq had all the intelligence and all the advantages that Ghost never had, and he was trying to protect him from a life of misery, because all drug dealers end up doing is ending up dead or in jail. But regardless, what did Kanan say about Tariq?
I know you don't like it, but the boy a gangster. He was born in him. Better than you at that age. He cold with it. And you the meanest little man. So.
And this is coming from Kanan, the same person who taught Tommy and Ghost the game, the kids who grew up working for Breeze when they were kids. And Kanan said, Tariq is better than what Ghost was at the same age. He's cold with it. So if it's coming from Kanan, who's arguably one of the most ruthless characters on Power, he saw something in Tariq very early on, something which Tariq made Tasha realize at the end of season 1 of Ghost, when he said he's a killer as well. And the look on Tasha's face told us exactly what we needed to know. It was the look of a mother who knows what she had a hand in creating, and that was a monster. But not just Tasha, because Tariq had so many more mentors in the game than we think. A lot of his ways do come from Ghost, Kanan, and Tasha. But let's not forget there was also Uncle Tommy, Dre, and in Power Book 2 Ghost, we've seen him learning and taking teachings from Rashad Tate. For example, how Tate taught him that two parties can benefit from any given interaction, which is what he's been using to help his sister Yaz. But it also came in use when he was in jail, because we saw the influence that someone like Rashad Tate has. So with Tariq, he's crossing paths with mentors and teachers away from the game as much as in the game. And it's important for someone like Tariq because Tariq's a businessman. He's always been the money man and not the muscle. And eventually you can see him entering the real world of business, just like Ghost did. But stepping into Tariq's mind, naturally as a kid, you're always going to go against what your parents tell you, especially when you despise them so much, just like Tariq did with Ghost. He lost his son a long time ago, and Tariq even told him the only person that could turn him against his own father was Ghost himself. He's the reason. So when he opened and read Ghost's letter, what would he have been thinking? He thought Ghost knew him better than he knew himself, and he did tell him that he was trying to save him from a life of misery. But the thing is, Tariq's story isn't over, and there is plenty of time to change this, and now he's going to be on a mission to prove his dad wrong, and prove that he can be better. But what about more of a monster? Now, the last time he asked for Tameika's help, he told her that he wasn't, and Ghost was. But Tariq is someone who's lost his innocence phase in season 2, because bodies just keep piling up around Tariq, and he's one of the main suspects, and bodies used to pile up around Ghost, but they could never nail him for any that Tameika put in front of Tariq. And Tameika did say she wasn't going to help him become his father, because she could get him a deal.
If you're not smarter than your father already, you will be. You have all the tools to be better than he ever was. But it's your decision.
And Tameika wanted to give Tariq the chance to decide for himself who he becomes, because she thought he could be better. But Saxe asked the right question, does he want to be better? Because Cooper Saxe is someone who knows who he is. And the question was answered when Tariq turned down the deal that Tameika and Saxe got from Jenny Sullivan.
My father always did whatever it took to save himself. If I snitch, I sign this paper, I won't be anything better.
And that's because Tariq believes he can beat this, and he isn't a snitch. He may not have grown up in the streets, but he certainly knows the rules. And in the streets, if you talk, you may as well start digging your own grave. So he was never going to go to prison for 5 years. And this was him choosing who he wanted to be. But let's not get it twisted. Tariq does deserve to spend some major time inside for the things that he's done in his life. And there has to be some consequences for his actions at some point. But he's just like Ghost. He believes the rules don't apply to him and nothing can stop him. Just like Ghost said over and over again in Season 6 of Power. But the key difference is, Ghost was too busy making enemies out of all those around him towards the end of Power. Tariq is using these people for his benefit. For example, Kane. He knows exactly what he did with planting the badge in his room, but right now he knows they're better off working together than against, because that's the greater good. But mainly, he's assembled a very powerful team around him with Davis McLean, Cooper Saxe, and Rashad Tate. Albeit Davis McLean is loyal to money, he's a strong lawyer who you definitely want in your corner, because we all saw what he said to Carrie, his clients walking free, because he's a winner, and he can win without knowing the full facts and the full truth. And he also knows the street code, something which Saxe doesn't. But what about Cooper Saxe himself? He used to be one who was against the St. Patrick's, but now he finds himself defending Tariq. And now Tariq has someone in his corner who knows not only did he not commit the Ramirez murder, he's someone who is a former prosecutor himself. And as McLean said, Cooper Saxe can do certain things which he can't, and this will work in Tariq's favor, especially when it comes to Cooper Saxe's relationship with Jenny Sullivan, because he can get all the inside info. And with Rashad Tate, he's a man of influence, and we've seen Tariq use his influence on more than one occasion when he got him his visit to see his sister Yaz and a friendly judge to grant him bail. This is how much influence Rashad Tate has, and where Ghost was making an enemy out of Rashad Tate, Tariq is using what Tate taught him in class, where two people can benefit from helping each other, a favor for a favor, and we saw how he used it. But something which he lacks majorly is the street toughness. He's playing in a man's world, and what if Tariq came up against someone like Biscuit while he was in jail, just like Ghost did? Tariq would basically turn into a biscuit. So he needs to develop this over time, and I think he will. But for now, he can use the muscle around him, for example Kane. If they can get on the same page, which it looks like they will for the greater good, they really would complement each other's qualities, with Tariq's brains and Kane's muscle. And this way, Tariq doesn't even need to get his hands dirty, but no doubt he'll have to at some point soon. So it brings me back round. Will Tariq become a bigger monster than Ghost? Now we have to remember what Kanan said, and the decision that Tariq made with the offer that he had from Tameika. He's chosen his path, and he's only going to get worse. And with his intelligence, I think by the end of the series, whether it be season 5 or 6, Tariq will have become a bigger monster, but it's going to take some time. But let me know what you guys think. Will Tariq become a bigger monster based on what I've said? Drop all your thoughts down below, and if you're new to the channel and you haven't done so already, then remember to smash the subscribe button if you want to see everything Power Book 2 Ghost and Power Universe related. But as always, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.